Now, the go-home show to SummerSlam. Was it good? No. I'm going to be honest here. There were parts of this show that actually I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen at SummerSlam. But there was so much stuff in there just thrown in that didn't even need to be in there. That really brought the show down for me personally. I'm going to start with Biggie Langston and AJ versus Khali and Natalya. Why? Why was Natalya in this? There was no need for Biggie Langston to be there. Hell, Dolph Ziggler, from what I saw, you guys tell me, I did not see Dolph Ziggler this entire show. So why in the hell you bringing Biggie Langston out with AJ? I can understand Natalya being seen because of what happened later in the night, and I will get to that. But there was no point of having Hornswoggle, Khali, and Natalya out there. Just so Biggie Langston could nail Khali and throw around Hornswoggle, we could see that in a SmackDown. I don't give a damn about Hornswoggle. I don't give a damn about Khali. So I didn't give a damn about this match. It made no sense whatsoever. Next, the Shield segment. The Shield talking about the Battle Royal, which I will get to later also. Talking about someone have to come after these belts. Someone, we want respect. We want to show that we're... That made no sense. Those weren't those exact words that Roland Reigns had talked about. But the Shield has been structured so badly now. Look, the Shield was red hot months ago. They were after justice. Even if it was heel justice, they should have stuck with it. Having heel justice would have made more better sense. But they kept going after heels and faces, which made no damn sense. And then when they got the titles, did we get more promo segments? No. Did we get one of them branching off trying to do something more with their title? No. The Shield is like this. Not doing anything. Literally. Having nothing to do. They went after every last superstar they had on the roster so the Shield would stay relevant, and now the Shield is completely done. I believe after this, I'm going to give it to you like this. Sorry for the cat meowing. I'm going to say it like this. One of those three guys, either the tag belts or the U.S. Championship, is getting off one of them. I don't know which one. But it's going to happen. Next. The part I didn't really care about next was Fandango and R-Truth. Now this would have been actually an interesting feud. You got one guy who does basically hip-hop dancing against another guy who does ballroom dancing and other forms of dance. They could have structured this actually quite good months ago. Weeks ago, you could have had an actual interest of Fandango messing with a R-Truth. But did we get this? No. We got a little bit of dancing in the ring and no match. R-Truth looks good in it, but it doesn't look good for either one of them. Nothing happened. Just checking my cat. Sorry. Thought she fell out of the cat litter. She doesn't have very good balance that much anymore. She's an older cat. But simply put, I didn't see anything going on with R-Truth. I didn't see nothing going on with Fandango. There was no point in putting them on the show. You could have just left it for the Battle Royal. So I'm going to get to the Battle Royal. 20-man over-the-top Battle Royal, where these two were also in there with 3MB, tons of funk. Ryback, who I didn't feel was going to do anything in this. Great Khali, who was also mentioned earlier. And Usos. I should get to this later. No, I'm going to finish this now. RVD, the great, the powerful, the wonderful Mark Henry going, ah! And if you saw and they showed a picture of someone made a big picture of Mark Henry with red eyes and a red mouth like he's breathing fire. I'm sorry if I seem a little not completely in this, because figured that Mark Henry might win this. And I wasn't interested in seeing Mark Henry win, but seeing RVD being the one who won this, I don't really feel that interested in it. I do believe there's a good chance RVD will win that championship belt because they got nothing for Dean Ambrose to do with that title. He's basically done his run with it. It's nothing for him. So even though it was a good battle royal, there were some good things in it. I didn't give a fuck about Ryback. Forgive me for my language. I'm honestly telling you, I had no interest in Ryback at all. Didn't see anything good for him. Seeing him facing down a Mark Henry, I didn't care. As much as I love Mark Henry. But I can say at the end of the match, when you saw the fist bump of RVD and Mark Henry, wasn't too bad. But with the Shield coming out, I wasn't very interested. The Big Show coming out after that, even less interested. Why in the hell does it matter having Big Show coming out and them backing off? They faced the Big Show a whole bunch of times before they kicked his ass. So why are they backing away? Because you got two big men and a small man in there? I didn't even care about the ending. It's okay to see that RVD is going after the U.S. title. I did not want to see him in the world title. I am so glad I was wrong about... Thank you. Thank you to the WWE brass realizing it wouldn't have been smart to have RVD in the main title scene for the World Championship. I'm glad that didn't happen. Now I'm going to move on to Christian and ADR. Christian's video package before ADR's match was actually very decent. I have to say that I'm not a big Christian fan. I'm not. But seeing how they made Christian look good in this type of video package gives me some interest in at least seeing what they're going to do with Christian. I don't know what they're going to do with ADR. I'm getting RVD and ADR mixed up. I'm sorry. But it almost feels the same. Because when you see Kofi versus ADR, that was a long match that didn't need to happen. It did not need to happen, that match being so long. If you're trying to make ADR look dominant, bringing Kofi Kingston in to drag that match out was a wrong move, in my opinion. And I can see, if anyone saw After Road Show Central's, I believe it was Raw's, the last Raw, when Kofi Kingston had come back. And the Slug Daddy said, WWE, you have an opportunity with Kofi. I still agree with him. But that's if they're willing to push a Kofi Kingston. They don't have enough people in the mid-card, so they don't care. I didn't care about this match because I didn't feel that Kofi... I mean, what? What did we get? I didn't see any hyping for ADR. Nothing. Really, he hasn't done good these last couple of months. So I'm going to move on to the... Let me get this over with the Divas. I have no interest in the Divas. Seeing the Bellas there, I don't hate the Bellas. As I've said before, I commend them for coming back to WWE. They have some talent, but I don't believe it is great as many people believe it is. I'm sorry. The Bellas do not have great talent. They're not that great of a talent. I'm sorry. Seeing this and seeing the Bellas have been made the featured stars of Total Divas makes me think simply they're doing this because of Daniel Bryan and Cena. And I will bring to them later. I will get to them later. But really, that's the only reason they've been put in that position. Really. Seeing Natalya wanting a match with a Brie Bella, getting a couple of smacks in, seeing my gorgeous Naomi, I love the hell out of that woman, but it didn't give me any interest. I don't care about this match. I don't. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Going into the McMahon segment. Seeing McMahon with the Maddox. I say that Maddox is being used very well because he's the one that's being spotlighted here. I know people are going to say, no, it was Triple H that got spotlighted. He pedigreed his ass. True. But you have to set up the pedigree for a reason. You have to give the pedigree a reason to come into being, ladies and gentlemen. You must bring out God himself for a reason. God just doesn't always come out because he needs to just show himself. He has to have a reason to come out. And having this segment with the chairman, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, with the Maddox was good. The match early in the night where the Maddox did a fast count on Daniel Bryan and Wade Barrett. And I don't even need to get into that match because I did not like it. I didn't care about it. Seeing Wade shade just makes me feel sadder for him. So I don't really want to talk about that match because I feel sad for Wade. Wade has become an enhanced jobber. That's all I'm going to say. But seeing the Maddox having to set up the SummerSlam match, being the ref, was necessary for the Triple H to come out and show his true colors as a impartial, pedigree fucking champion of the WWE. Seeing Maddox taking the pedigree to the face, it was necessary. If anyone likes Maddox, don't worry. He needed to do this because he's not above Triple H. But to get the pedigree in that manner means they are willing to do great work with Maddox. And I'm saying this honestly. You could say Maddox basically, who gives a damn about him because he got the pedigree. But to get in that halfway point of the show, they had to give it to someone who's capable. And I know when he first came out, he was not capable. Now he's much more interesting, much more capable, and they believe that he's the right person to use to bring a Triple H into the SummerSlam main event show. I mean, that's going to main event. You got Cena, you got Bryan, and you got Triple H. That's going to probably main event the show. And that's what's leading me into the Miz TV segment, which I really don't care about the Miz. I loved the Miz TV before, now it's trash. But when you saw this segment, it wasn't that bad. It was too long. I'm sorry. Cena talked too damn much. I'm stuttering because I could not stand it. He may have said some honest things, but it was too long. I was more interested in what Daniel Bryan saying, called him a parody. And I think, even though this has been scripted, I don't think he enjoyed hearing himself being called a parody. A joke. A little bit of a piss off. I'm not saying it was a big one. It wasn't. That was still a work. But who wants to hear being called a parody? I mean, he's gotten a thick skin over the last 12 years. I know people don't like him, but honestly, that can still get you. Even if you're doing a work on being pissed off, does not mean you don't get pissed off. And at the end of that entire thing, hearing Daniel Bryan saying, in a tradition of Japanese wrestling, to hype someone up, we gotta get a smack in the face by our fellow wrestlers. You don't deserve it, Cena, because you're not a wrestler. I can say it was a good ending for that. Seeing Cena smack him in the face afterward, that's what I'm talking about, showing a little bit of frustration and anger. That's what I believe is the only time you could see maybe a tiny bit of actual genuineness of John Cena. I'm not saying it was big, but let's be honest. John Cena's hid his attitude for quite a long time, and I think this might have been the only time he's been allowed to show a little bit of frustration. Just a tiny bit. Because who wants to be told you're nothing but a piece of shit in front of nationwide television in that manner? Because as far as I understand, the Japanese do that. And he expected to get a smack, and he didn't get it. What did we get at the end? Triple H coming out to keep them separate, and Randy Orton coming out, raising his suitcase saying, I'm the Viper. I will get one of you soon. In his monotone voice. I know he didn't speak. I'm just saying that as an expression by words from his actual visualization. In other words, you're standing there with it like this. So I figured that even though it was a long segment, I was not fond of seeing a long segment, it was still good and it did what it needed to do. Now the Usos versus the Real Americans. This leads up for the Usos going up against the Shield again. Maybe this time to win. You've already heard my own feelings about the Usos. It's not the point if they're good on the mic or not. They've been around a long time, and everybody, including their mama, has gotten those titles. Is there times, even if it's transitional for the Wyatts, which I believe it is, I believe the Wyatt family is going to get those titles. So it's all right to see it. Let the Usos get a couple of months run with it, and then let the Wyatts take it. Now, let's see. I don't want to forget. Including the Wyatts. I know this is going to run a little long. Kane versus O'Neal, which I didn't care about. O'Neal gets nailed, but when the Wyatts come down and think they're going to nail Kane, Kane was waiting for him. And he just reiterates, sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, how the Ring of Fire match is going to work. Now, I've heard some people say, we don't know if it was going to be an Infernal match. Look, the only difference between this match, which they're going to have fire on the outside where no one's going to get burnt, and the fire on the inside where people could get burnt, is almost nothing. Either one of those groups can still get hurt. Kane and Bray Wyatt can get hurt, or the other guys can get hurt. Honestly, it still feels like an Infernal match, even if no one gets burnt. When is the last time you heard anyone use fire other than the Infernal match? They just did a twist on it, so I'm just going to leave it at that. To me, it just feels like a modified version of the Infernal match. And now, finally, Paul versus Punk, which didn't happen. We got a long segment. Too long, to be honest. It didn't need to be that long. Just to see Punk kick the ass of a Brock Lesnar and kick the ass of a Curtis Axel so he could be standing over everyone. I just didn't feel at the end it was necessary to see that. They could have had the fight in the very beginning. Just come out, have the fight, and then end it like that. The long segment was just too much for me, and that's what turned me off to this entire part. But I can say that they are structuring it. I'm still interested in seeing the Best versus the Beast. I am. I'm just not fond of how the ending of this go-home show was. I felt Paulie didn't need to talk so long. And I also felt like Punk didn't need to get over on both of them. He could have just nailed one of them and then ran off. Having gotten over on them, that could have gave me more of a tease, but I didn't get that. So, how do I rate this show? Almost forgot. One last match. Sandow versus Randy Orton. I'm so sorry. It was a good match. Orton wins. And I'm very hyped up for that match. Out of all the matches that's going to be shown, I want to see Sandow versus Cody. And he did good on commentary. I'm making it short because it doesn't need to be that long. But I'm going to say this wasn't a very good show. For me personally, I'm giving this, even with Damian, with the Kane segment, I didn't like it that much. I'm going to give it a C+. Maybe it's because the segments were too long for talking. That might have turned me off. But you guys give me your opinion on what you felt about this show. But I'm giving this a C+. I believe there were several matches that didn't need to be done and segments that were too long. So I hope you enjoyed this Zane view, and subscribe and comment on my channel and give me a thumbs up. Sorry it's just a little late. Uploaded, like I said in my last video review, I haven't been feeling well because of my allergies. And another reason why I'm kind of stuttering on my words is because I took my allergy medicine. It makes me very drowsy. I am not good in summertime. I'm better in fall and winter, so I don't have to worry about my allergies driving me out of my mind. But I hope you understand, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me, really, I'd like to know, tell me what I could have seen better in this show going into SummerSlam.